Spoilers ahead for the recent episode of She-Hulk. If you do not want to be spoiled, please watch the episode, then come back here. Otherwise, let us begin with this review. Remember all those shows who were constantly saying that this show is made for women, marketed towards for women, etc., every single excuse you've heard? Turns out, a show made and marketed towards women certainly has a lot of characters that the males have come to love, i.e. Daredevil, i.e. Abomination, i.e. Hulk, etc. Hell, even She-Hulk, believe it or not, that men, I know, right? Men actually like She-Hulk from the comics and the animations and the cameos and other animations. I know, shocking, right? Yes, these writers have been trying to gaslight us for even daring to critique this freaking show. And honestly, I thought the episode was somewhat decent. It was still terrible by, She-Hulk standards, but I thought it was decent enough. There was no feminist narrative, no feminist agenda being pushed until we get to the end of the episode, which we will talk about right now because it's pretty much nothing. So let's just get that out the way. So at the end of the episode, have her being the female lawyer of the year. And on top of all of that, we get to hear the freaking monologues of these women constantly give, feminist talking points. Again, these writers are needing to take a lesson in subtlety because, man, do they suck at it. Like, there was a way to convey this without being egregiously obnoxious and annoying and preachy to your audience. But then again, this is exactly what this show is for. And then they say for, twice the work for not the same blah, 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 blah. Even though, statistically speaking, you get paid actually more as a woman when you do, the same job because women actually do work harder because they do actually want to prove themselves. Not because of some type of societal pressure, but they want to work harder to make money for their ambitions because a lot of women are very ambitious. And there's nothing wrong with that. See that? A point to real life women who actually work their ass off, not to this godforsaken show that they do their best to shove down your throat this message in a very preachy and very obviously inaccurate way. Anyway, let's continue. Now that I've gotten all that out of the way, let's get into the part y'all want me to talk about. Charlie Cox is in this episode finally, and now I want to say I want to give up on the show, but there's still one more episode to get through. So his appearance in the show was honestly something I actually was just the only part that was keeping me up at night. Honestly, it was the only part I was thinking of because I was like, how are they going to destroy this man's character in less than 60 seconds? Excuse me, 60 minutes. Because every episode is almost either 20 to 30 minutes long because, the budget. But anyways, so the way I see it, the way they destroyed this man's character is they made him a bumbling idiot. If y'all remember from the Daredevil show, he was actually a very charming, charismatic guy. He didn't have to fumble over his words. But because She-Hulk only knows how to write one version of a quote-unquote good man, you have to make him a beta cuck. You get my drift? Like, literally. I'm surprised that She-Hulk didn't get mad at, Daredevil for quote-unquote mansplaining the superhero thing. I'm surprised that didn't happen. Instead, she just, flashes her She-Hulk glizzy, proverbially speaking, and constantly has to say, oh, I have superpowers and you don't, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, first of all, you don't even want to be a superhero. You don't even know how to be a superhero, which I am so glad they allow him to point out. Seriously. I guess they do kind of are a little aware of their situation, somewhat. Because they could have just easily said, oh, but I'm a She-Hulk, and like I thought they were gonna go to, Batwoman route where, just because Ryan Wilder is a black woman, therefore she gets to be Batwoman. Like they could have so easily did that, and I'm so glad they didn't. But anyways, let us continue. I swear to you, the only thing that makes this show bearable is the fact that I can make videos like this. Because based on y'all comments and y'all viewership, y'all sure do love me ragging on this show, and I'm not going to be stopping anytime soon. Now, I will give them points for the fight scenes for being somewhat enjoyable. Of course, they have to freaking milk Charlie Cox's appearance. You already know that was going to happen, because of course that was going to happen. They try to pay homage to his hallway scene and did it in a less spectacular way than it was done in a Netflix budget. Who am I kidding? The Netflix budget probably was bigger and better than this show. And yes, the yellow and red is ugly. I'm sorry, don't like it. And don't get me wrong, the suit is technically looking cooler because I like the padding and all the other bells and whistles of the suit. I just hate the color, perfectly honest with you. And do I even need to talk about the cheap, horribly freaking done lawyer scene? The writers already came out and said they don't know how to freaking shoot lawyer scenes. They don't know how to film lawyer scenes, even though they could just look up any clip online. But because these writers are so egotistical, they can't even do that much because they are so proud of their shit show. Anyways, someone just needs to help me understand, why is it do they just don't know how to write this woman? Genuinely, this episode was an insult to Daredevil fans. It was an insult to comic book She-Hulk fans. It's an insult to animated She-Hulk fans. It's an insult to just fans of anything Marvel. And of course, as we know, the gaslighting for these freaking reviews are going to be out. Who knows when? It's probably already out now. And honestly, yep. The copium will be real, the copium will be strong, but of course, after all, we are in modern day entertainment. If you criticize anything starring a woman, you must be a sexist, you are an incel, you are every single buzzword under the book. And if a woman criticizes this show with valid points, they just have quote unquote intellect misogyny. Freaking kill me. I know that the ratings for this show was going to drop astronomically, but at the end of the day, Marvel's going to marvel. I don't understand why they just don't put out shows of characters people want to see. Like, you have obscure characters that are more popular than freaking Echo, Andor, etc. It's like they purposely make shows that they know are going to be bad, but they either hide behind the gender or the race of a character to cope with their horrible writing, their horrible stories, their stupid politics, and everything else under the sun. And again, this show is an insult to real women who work in the corporate world. Heck, this show is just an insult to women, point blank, period. Like, literally towards the end of the episode, She-Hulk has an emotional outburst and literally goes on a rampage. She-Hulk's most defining factor is the fact that she can control her state almost effortlessly. She does not have an alter ego. She is not mentally unstable. So why is it in this episode and in previous episodes early on in the show did they constantly have her freaking out and going crazy? And basically insinuating that she's doing all of this by choice. She's choosing to act unstable. And again, she's so freaking selfish, she didn't think to herself that, maybe if I go insane right now, I will do more than just ruin my image. Not only will I mess up the entire event for everyone else who got nominated, but my family is watching me. Like, she doesn't actually have any critical thinking skills. She just loses her mind on purpose. And again, I say on purpose because, again, they already stated that she has full control over herself after the first time she did this transformation. Lock her ass up right now. Also, I just love how tone deaf, again, Disney is being, again. Because literally in the first episode, she literally made a whole speech about having great power, great responsibility. Basically, they're paraphrasing Uncle Ben. I don't care what you tell me. And it literally took her 8 episodes to decide to be a freaking superhero for once. And not only that, surprisingly, again, this is tone deaf Disney, she needed a man to tell her this. Like, like, honestly, again, this show is terrible. I don't get why people can't just do that simple, honest fact and admit it. Like, it's literally all coming together now. Everything we've been saying about this show has been proven to be true, and nobody wants to admit it. I wonder why. But hey, man, Disney, bro, keep making these horrible shows, man, because I love breaking this down. And it's not to say that I just want to hate on Disney. I wish they had good stuff. Like, honestly, bro, I prefer them to have good stuff. Like, honestly, me reviewing these shitty shows is me coping, like, if I'm being real with you. But at the end of the day, I enjoyed breaking this episode down. It's gonna be a hell to edit, but at the end of the day, like, comment, subscribe, do all the good stuff, and I will see y'all in the next video. Peace.